Coffee with Andy. Hey! Guess you guys think that you've seen me in here before, but you haven't. This is Coffee with Andy, and I've got a helper over here today. Let me spin this around. It's Micah. We're down in the engine bay on the starboard side, which is underneath mine and Tracy's bed. Now, I think I've talked about, I've never published a video about when we put this memory foam mattress in, because we kind of felt like the princess and the pea. We tried 4 or 5 things, and we ended up selecting a 14-inch memory foam mattress from Costco. It's queen size, and the box was pretty big and heavy. We got it to the boat, and then we pulled the compressed bag out of the box and tried to either get it in through the hatch above, because there's a hatch right above the bed, or down the hallway, and it wouldn't come in as rolled up. So the trick was we had to take it out of the bag as it was inflating, with 2 people pushing and 2 people pulling. And then now that it's on the platform, the only way it'll ever leave is if we cut it up into at least 4 pieces. So we have to wrestle this up out of the way. We have our pry support bar here. And hold on. Sounds like Nick's in a little trouble up there because he's not using his noggin. Turn off this light so I don't look like a goober. You think that's the limiting factor there, son? You're not allowed to laugh at me.
Sorry.
So we've been here before. Yesterday we started the tear out and put back in, and we're still learning a lot about the boat, and there's tons to learn on this boat. I think I could probably be on this boat working on it every day for years and not understand every nuance, but I'm going to try. So we put one of these Balmar 12-volt protection modules on the alternator over there. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It was on my agenda to do this one today, and just like a lot of boat projects, when you set off to do the project, first you have to find what you want to install. This took an hour to install. Should have been in one place, but it got misplaced. Then you have to get everything open. You have to get the tools. You have to go back. You have to go up. You have to go down. You have to go up. You have to lay over the engine under your bed, under a propped up thing. Nothing happens quickly, but it all happens eventually. Please don't use that. We'll probably use that zip tie in this project. Anyway, I had a surprise visitor yesterday. Friend of mine in the Mutual Admiration Society from Georgia, a good old scouter, was just in Charleston and texted me and said, "Where are you at?" And I said, "Charleston." "Me too." Says, "Where are you at?" "I'm at Cooper River Marina." "Me too." So I climbed up out of the engine bay and ran down the dock to go find him. So that was Chuckles Hoover, who I met, I want to say it was 7 or 8 years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago. May have been longer, I don't know, may have been 10 years ago, at a scouting event called University of Scouting, which is in December. It was last weekend. Northeast Georgia Council runs it, and it's a way to spread knowledge and enthusiasm throughout the adult leaders and some of the youth. There are a few things for youth there. So it was my 2nd year teaching at University of Scouting, and I was a little hog wild. There are 6 periods in that day, and I taught 6 classes. And I think it was my 1st or 2nd class of the day. It was living large and making a big impression. It was a class that I made up. And Chuckles sat in on that. And he quickly, we quickly understood that we both understood the same game about making a connection. So about halfway through the class, we had a very heated discussion where we stood up and kind of got in each other's space. And it went on for about 30 seconds of mine's bigger, no, mine's bigger, mine's bigger, no, mine's bigger. And then we ripped our belts off and measured them to see whose was bigger. I may have won that. Not anymore. This svelte boat bod that I have going on here, the dad boat bod. You know, if somebody's looking to sponsor like a dad's boat bod swimwear, I'm your man. So I got to visit with Chuckles for a little while yesterday, and I want to make sure that I open this up to anyone. You're all invited. You don't have to surprise me. It was nice, but I may have not even been at the boat. Just if you're going to be in the area and want to stop by, I'd love to. We've visited with Chalmers, we've visited with Bev, we've visited with Sharon Chalmers, which is a different Chalmers, not connected at all. And we had other people on the boat, but to have a friend stop by and just spend a few minutes and I think it helps them put their eyes on what we're doing and what the situation is, and they have a better understanding. And it's important that we all keep track of each other and we check in on each other. Wanted to circle back on one thing on Uncle David. The living large and making a big impression. I didn't really realize it at the time, but it was something that modeled after my Uncle David. He wore the most outlandish things. Christmas suits, whatever. His prosthetic legs had monkeys and other things just to start a conversation. And when you can start a conversation, you can make a connection with someone. So Uncle David, it was his huge personality, which I don't know anything about. It was the outlandish things that he would do, like putting a pair of women's underwear on his balcony when he was traveling that was like 4 feet wide, and everybody saw that at the resort. So we lived it for a number of years with just the big family. I had the deuce. That was my conversation hook. That was my starter. Somebody come ask me a question, I had them. I could talk to them, I could make a connection. So Uncle David modeled that for me for years and years, and I didn't realize it for a long time, but that's where I got it from. So the boat upfit continues. We're going to put this Balmar on this engine. We put the one on the other. We pulled some lines back yesterday. We've got our Serbo GX, which is the brains of our system, hooked up. It's not mounted yet. And that is the central nervous system of the battery shunt. So it tells me how much power is out or back into the batteries. It's the brains for our solar controller charger, which tells me how much sunlight we're getting basically, and what it's converting that high voltage down to 12 volts and how many amps it's pumping into our battery bank. And then we'll have our inverter charger, auto switch. But I need help from you guys. This is something we really need. When we bought the boat, the smart shunt, which is the battery gauge basically, the previous owner, David, named them the most awesome things. It was Maxwell Smart Shunt from Maxwell Smart TV show. And I don't want to change it. I don't want to change it at all. It is perfect. The solar charger is called Rick Solar Flare from wrestling. Woo! If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. So we need to come up with a name for the Serbo. And the Serbo is that brain. And it needs to either be someone who was really smart or thought they were really smart and really a doofus. But I kind of like the smart aspect. And then The strong man, the biggest, hardest worker of our whole system is going to be our auto switcher, inverter, and charger. So it inverts up to 3,000 watts of DC battery power to AC power. So when we plug in a hairdryer, or we plug in our hot water kettle, it makes power. So I need to come up with a name for each of those. I'll give you naming bragging rights, but I need some help. So I need something for something really strong, TV show, something from our youth, and something that can do, like a master of all trades, that can do things strongly. He-Man, Master of the Universe, or He-Man Inverter. I'm looking for you guys. I don't like Zeus. We don't do false idol worship, and we can study Greek and Roman gods, but we're not gonna. So I need your help there, guys. Anyway, the work continues. We had some product come in that wasn't right, wasn't as described, and either online or Amazon things, and had to reorder several things last night. And when we got in and we're looking at the setup, we realized we want to redo some of the wiring as it comes in. There's a 30 amp in. We're going to put two, because we got two 30 amp circuits coming in. One of them is the main house feed. The other is the reverse cycle AC. So it's a heat and air. We're going to put a higher gauge feed wire from that. It's going to go through a safety breaker, kind of like a GFCI, that makes my boat safer. It's just something we got to do. And then we'll run that line all the way up through the inverter to the main panel. So the ABYC standards have changed over the years, and now they say you need a heavier gauge cable when it's going to be in a warm engine environment. Not that it's going to be warm often when we're using that, but we'd rather err on the side of caution and make sure that we're as safe as possible. I think I'm going to wrap it up for now. I need to climb down in here. My two projects today are putting the inverter thing on, and then the bilge blower works in this side, but the hose for it's been tucked up underneath, so I've got to climb under here and wrestle that and re-zip tie it over to this bilge blower. But until next time, I'm gonna just be down in here. Bye, guys.